I see messages all the time in the comments section that some of you didn't realize you didn't subscribe. So if you could do me a favor and double check if you're a subscriber to this channel, that would be tremendously appreciated. It's the free thing that anybody that watches this show frequently can do to help us here, to keep everything going in this show in the trajectory it's on. So please do double check if you subscribed. And thank you so much, because in a strange way, you're part of our history and you're on this journey with us. And I appreciate you for that. So yeah, thank you. Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor, what have you spent your professional career endeavoring to understand, and why does it matter?
I am fascinated with how does our brain create our perception of reality? And based on that information, what a wonder it is any two of us can communicate at all. I think I am fascinated by what we are as biological creatures. And most of us are so consumed with everything outside of ourselves that we have missed the wonder of what we are as this biological conglomeration of cells. I think we're absolutely beautiful. You know, none of us came into this world with a roadmap about how to get it all right. And the roadmap is the brain cells. And when we understand the brain cells and what they do and how to work with them and how to keep them well, then we can manifest our own mental health.
And do you think the average person understands the brain? Did you understand the brain before you started studying it?
Well, I understood it because I had a brother who was would be diagnosed with the brain disorder schizophrenia. So I became fascinated by 5 or 6 about what are we and why is he the way he is? We are so different from one another. Our interpretation of our experiences are so different from one another. What are we? I just became a philosopher very young and fascinated with the biology and the anatomy of what we are.
What do you think an understanding of the brain, the understanding that you're going to communicate to myself and my audience today, how do you think that can help me improve my life?
Oh my goodness. If I understand what part of me interacts with the external world and is smart and is good with details and is well organized, then I know how to use that part. And we are skewed as a society to that left thinking portion of our brain. In fact, as far as traditional medicine is concerned, that thinking portion of our brain is the only portion that is actually conscious. So then we live our lives literally with our left emotional tissue, our right emotional tissue, and our right thinking tissue, all as part of our unconscious brain. But what if it's not unconscious? What if we actually know what those groups of cells also do, so that when I'm experiencing my pain from the past, I can actually call on the portion of my brain that knows how to self-soothe me so that I can lift myself out of my pain, learn from those experiences, and then live a more fulfilled life. It's the power to choose who and how we want to be in the world when we understand what our choices are.
So is it possible to choose which part of your brain to use in a certain moment?
You do it all the time. You're just probably not aware of it. Let's say you're going to have a business call. And you got your stats and you got your data and you pick up the phone and you say, yes, this is Steve and blah, blah, blah. And you work into your details. And then let's say someone peeks in to let's say a little dog comes running in. Okay. Well, you're going to have a couple of potentially responses. One, you're going to smile, right? You just smiled. You just moved into, oh, I love my little fuzzy. And yeah, okay, now you're a little gentler because now you shifted into a different portion of your brain that is open to the present moment. And now you just got uplifted. So we have these 4 different neuroanatomically structured parts of our brain, and we can pick and choose who and how we want to be in any moment when we know what our choices are. But we don't know what our choices are as our society because we are functioning skewed to that left thinking portion of our brain, and everything else is running on automatic.
And the left thinking portion of the brain is the more logical?
Logical, rational, analytical, likes to control people, places, things. There's a me definition, ego center of I exist. I am Jill Bolte Taylor. This is my phone number. This is where I live. I know that this is where I begin and end. where my skin meets air because a group of cells tells me where I begin and end. But you've probably had flow moments where you were doing your sports or you were making love or you were whatever you were doing and you didn't begin and end here. You were vast and open and you were this big energy ball that you are. But the left hemisphere focuses on that little group of cells and those skill sets and the right and the wrong and the good and bad, and that portion of the brain defines the social norm, and we all have to fit ourselves in the social norm. But it's only a quarter of our brain.
Is it making us unhappy, the way that we use our brain currently?
Well, we're out of balance. We're completely out of balance because we're at the balance of the value of that left brain. What's going on in the right brain? The right brain is right here, right now. We spend so much of our time. So fundamental differences between the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. And I know this only because I lost my left hemisphere and that's all I had for 8 years. I had to use what I had currently going on in my right hemisphere after I lost those cells of the left hemisphere in order to rebuild the skill sets of the left brain so that I could become completely functional again. Are we unhappy? Well, that's not a happy part of the brain. When you're being analytical and organized and structured, you probably got that frown right there, you know. And it's a different expression than as soon as I said a little puppy comes in, and then all of a sudden your face happens. Well, what happens is you're shifting into a different part of your brain, and that's what we do. We're running it on automatic. So if we are running our brain on automatic, imagine how much better we might do if we were actually picking and choosing who and how we wanted to be on purpose.
And you're telling me that's possible?
Absolutely.
And by the end of this conversation today, you're going to teach me how to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You're going to so get it, and it will. And once you see you will no longer ever not see you. And then you're going to see these 4 characters inside of yourself. And now you're going to be looking at your partner, who you speak about often. And you're going to be going, I recognize all 4 parts of her too. But what that means is that any relationship that we have, there's 8 of us. There's 8 of us. 8 very specific personalities in every relationship. So I have 4 very predictable character profiles, as do you. It's the way the anatomy of the brain is built.
You've bought a present for me in this box.
I did.
What is in that box?
This is a very special brain with a spinal cord.
This is a real brain.
This is a real brain with a spinal cord.
A real spinal cord. And do you own this brain?
I did this dissection, and yes, this brain was specifically donated to me for educational purposes.
How old was the person? What was?
In their 40s.
Do you know how they passed away?
Brain cancer.
And can you see the brain cancer?
You cannot. Not until I cut this open, and I've had this brain for over a decade and I haven't cut it open. It is very rare to have a dissection, which is actually brain and spinal cord. Usually you dissect the brain and we learn about the brain, but I wanted to have the brain and spinal cord because that's the central nervous system, and it's a spectacular dissection.
I feel nervous and excited.
Excited's good.
I'm excited.
Because you're right here, right now going, oh my gosh, something new.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Right here, right now is an exciting time. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay.
Shall I put my gloves on?
I encourage you to do so. Okay. So, this is a real human brain. And right now it is hydrated in rubbing alcohol. So, that's what this is. So, you don't have to be afraid of that. So this is a real human brain. And spinal cord. And I think what I'll do is I'll just move this over here.
Yeah.
Out of the way. Okay. So this is a human brain.
What's that skin on the top of it?
With a spinal cord.
This thing here?
We'll get there.
Oh.
So you've heard about meningitis.
Yeah. It's
layers that support between the bone and the brain tissue, and it protects it. So this is called, there are 3 layers called the meninges. So when you've heard of meningitis. So this is the dura mater. It's very tough, and you'll feel that. It's like a really tough lettuce. And this is essentially strapping the brain into the cranial vault and holding it into position, because you don't want this thing flopping around. and having wounding and injury.
So it straps it into here.
It straps it in certain spots, yes, and generally, often when you do a dissection, you actually have to put a like screwdriver in there to peel the dura off the bone. So it straps it in two positions, kind of like a bra for the brain. Okay, so this is the dura. And then what I'm touching now is called the arachnoid, and that's the second layer of the meninges. And what you're looking at in there is blood inside of the blood vessels. So one of the things about why the brain is so fragile is the blood vessels are transparently thin. So the pressurized system of what's going on inside of the cranial vault has to be highly regulated. And it's actually the pressure of the cranial vault versus the pressure in the thorax of the chest and the pressure of the abdomen. It's a system. And they all work together in order to keep everything well regulated, homeostasis, a state where the cells are happy. And so the third layer is like right here, and you can see this layer's peeled away, the arachnoid, and under here I'm now touching pia, and pia is the external layer of the brain cells themselves, the brain tissue. So this is a beautiful brain, and it would be positioned in my head like this. So front of the brain, back of the brain, coming down, hanging down as the spinal cord. And then as you look at the spinal cord, this is called the cauda equina or cauda equina. And these are the nerves that are actually going to go down into your lower extremity. So all the information that's going to go down into your lower extremity to control your body is controlled, and the sensory information is coming in through those nerve fibers.
It looks like a bunch of wires.
It does. Well, we are quite a well-designed machine in its own way. The difference is we are organic, we are biological. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that we make as a society is we think ourselves as a machine, push it, push it, push it, push it, push it, push it, push it. Well, you can do that with a computer. You plug it in and it stays on until you turn it off or it blows up. We have to go to sleep. Yeah, have a good time with that. Yes. It's okay. You won't hurt it.
Oh, wow.
We hope.
Gosh.
Beautiful. Our design, such a masterpiece. We are this massive conglomeration of 50 trillion molecular geniuses making up our form. Beautiful.
It's so crazy that every single person listening right now has one of these.
Yes.
And it's processing my voice as you're hearing my voice.
That's right.
And it is this, for anyone that has never felt a brain before, which I imagine is most of you, it is like this very, very soft but dense, sort of tofu-y, how would you describe the feeling?
Pork roast.
Pork roast. It's very soft though. Do you know
It
what?
is.
It makes me realize how easy this would be to damage.
Now, this has been in alcohol or formaldehyde since at least 2008, probably earlier. And when you first pull a brain out, it's even softer. It's like a tough jelly. So that when you first bring out a fresh brain, if you take your finger and you just poke it into the tissue, it'll squeeze right in, and then you pull your finger out, and then it'll scrunch right back together again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is a prepared specimen, and we have to do that and lock together the proteins or the lipids in order for us to be able to handle it for educational purposes.
So this is the computer, and then this is the wires that control the rest of the body.
Well, it's part of the system because this what you're holding is the central nervous system, and then all of it, and then the central nervous system sends between each of the vertebra. Here you have different vertebra. Between different vertebra, you will have different nerves coming out and then going around the body. And then you're also going to have vagus nerves coming off of the brainstem area and going down into the abdomen, taking care of the viscera.
The first time you saw a brain like this, how did it change your perspective of life?
I love it. I was very blessed to have an aunt who was a debutante back in the years where debutantes did not get jobs. And she wanted to be an emergency room doctor, but there was no way that she was going to do that. So she would actually encourage me to pick up roadkill, and we would take it home and dissect it. It's beautiful. See, that look, we have two responses. The left brain says, oh my gosh, this is disgusting. This is the worst thing I ever had. And that's a part of your brain that's designed to kind of critically judge and say, no, it's not safe. It's not cool. Push it away. But the right hemisphere comes online with curiosity. So people see these things and they go, oh no, not my thing. Or they go, oh my gosh, that is like so cool.
I feel both at the same time.
Yeah.
I feel I have like almost a respect for the person
Yes.
who grew the brain, whose brain that belongs to.
Yes.
And then